Real, and I am on location here at Everbank Stadium for Jacksonville. The Jaguars are hosting Green Bay. But after looking at some of the fans going into the stadium, you'd be hard-pressed to tell that you're in Jacksonville. Whole lot of cheeseheads around, whole lot of empty seats in the stadium, but most of the people in there are Packer fans. Now at this point, the Packers are up 7-0, but they also have first goal. So they're in danger of putting a big lead on the Jaguars in a time that they really can't afford to get behind, because you know they're a 2-5 football team and they're fighting for the. Will another loss hurt them today? Not really, because they have time. Any team is capable of going on a roll. Jacksonville is actually not a bad football team if they can get things working. But they got to put this together, they got to put that together. The next thing you know, you start to put things together and you become a competitive football team. But as we're sitting here at Jaguar Stadium, don't have many people moving around now because we're in the early stages of the second quarter. But there are some people still around. And it's going to get hyped up as the stadium starts to clear out. But let's talk a little college football. We came on yesterday and we talked about the top 10, the good games we were going to see yesterday, and we kind of saw what I was expecting. First, Oregon debuted at number 1. They took on the number 20th ranked Illinois. But I felt that Illinois wasn't quite ready enough to deal with what Oregon had to offer. And sure enough, they were a step behind, and it just seemed like it was easy pickings for Oregon. I even seen a couple of dudes run over some Illinois people, and they got to be embarrassing somewhat. But what they ended up doing, they called the dogs off in the second half, but they still ended up with a 35-9 victory. So that was Oregon. The other thing we talked about was Texas. How would they bounce back? Texas went into Vanderbilt with dreams of an upset. They didn't care nothing about playing Texas, and even to the point where the city had made preparations where they would not get caught off guard the way they did when they upset Alabama. They had measures in place to make sure that downtown area didn't get destroyed like it did 2 weeks earlier against Alabama. I thought that Texas would run away and hide, but they didn't. They played like they're punch drunk. You know, Georgia, their defensive line whipped them pretty good, and the way they were performing, it was like they were still punch drunk from the whipping Georgia put on them, and it almost cost them. If it wasn't for this quarterback from Vanderbilt throwing up these plays and throwing away interceptions, hey, Vanderbilt had an opportunity to win this game. But they got an interception late, and that sealed it for Texas, and they survived. Now, the rest of the Texas schedule. I had picked Texas to win the SEC, but I don't think that a lot of people feel that way by the way they're playing. But they do have kind of a soft schedule until they get to Texas A&M. Now, let's talk about Texas A&M a little bit. Last night, they hosted LSU. Old rivals from the past. It was renewed when Texas A&M left the Big 12 and came into the SEC, but ever since then, LSU has pretty much dominated the series. Well, last night was a little different. Mike Elko has this team playing completely different from the way it was when Jimbo Fisher had them. Jimbo Fisher, he was a disappointment, and the way that Mike Elko has them playing, you can understand why. But once they got by LSU, they're all set up to be a surprise entrance into the SEC championship game. Why do I say that? Well, all they have left, they have South Carolina, which is playing pretty good football, but they can beat South Carolina. They have, what's the other team they have? They have Auburn. Can't remember the third team. Then they close the season out with Texas. So those are all winnable games up to Texas. The thing is that Texas and Texas A&M have a bitter hatred for each other. Texas A&M left the Big 12 because they didn't want to be bothered with Texas no more. As you know, Texas has that Longhorn network, and they didn't want to share any money with anybody, and they were just being a bully in the Big 12. So A&M just got tired of it. So they wanted to get away from Texas, and they did. They went to the SEC. They were doing great. They didn't want to have nothing to do with Texas. But now, once the Super Conference stuff came up, lo and behold, who comes back to them? Texas. They can't get rid of Texas if they try. But Texas, ever the good sport, they try to throw a lifeline to A&M and say, look, let's get along. They wanted to start the series back of that rivalry in football that they had for years. They wanted to play in the 22 and 23 season. But A&M not wanting to have anything to do with them, they said no. They spurned Texas advance to renew the relationship. But now, conference members, they can't duck Texas anymore. But I don't think they care. Because if Texas continues to play the way they're playing, the way they played yesterday, they're not going to beat Texas A&M. And A&M would like nothing better than to stomp on the Longhorns to ruin their chances of getting to the SEC championship game. Just another idea about how A&M has a disdain for Texas. They usually play that game, it's either Thanksgiving night or the Friday after sometimes. When they play this year, they're going to play on a Saturday. So they don't even look at Texas the way they used to look at them anymore. If they don't like them, they don't want to have nothing to do with them, but they're not going to follow the same traditions that they had before. But that's going to be an interesting matchup to come up in about 4 weeks. But A&M, they got a week off, and they got South Carolina, they have New Mexico State, they have Auburn, and they finish the year with Texas. So that's going to be must-see football in about a month. Alabama survived Missouri. Their offense struggled, but they got it together in the second half. But can you really say that they got it together? Because Missouri's been struggling for about a month now. I don't know what's going on in Columbia, but they just don't seem to have it right these days. And it shows. So we don't know how good they're going to be. But they do play good defense. Georgia plays good defense. And these are teams that can do damage to an Oregon team who's running up and down the field on everybody. They're probably in line to have a rematch with Ohio State, most people thought. But after seeing yesterday's game against Nebraska, I thought that they were going to run them off because they were going to be upset that they lost to Oregon, and they were going to make Nebraska pay, especially after Nebraska was embarrassed the week before at Indiana. Well, it took some divine intervention for the Buckeyes to get beyond Nebraska. So maybe that was a bad performance. Maybe it was, maybe it wasn't. But the real question is, how good is Indiana? Indiana destroyed Nebraska. They ran off Washington yesterday with a backup quarterback. This team here seems to be for real. So everybody's talking about Ohio State and the Michigans. Nobody sees what's going on in Bloomington. This is the first time the team has ever gone 8-0, and they looked apart. I don't know how long this quarterback's going to be out, but if he comes back and they continue to play the way they're playing, they're going to be a threat to win that Big Ten. I'm not giving them predictions right now, but keep an eye on the Indiana Hoosiers. So you got the SEC surprise team, Texas A&M, and then you have the Big Ten surprise team, Indiana Hoosiers. Now, the Big 12 surprise team, we're talking about Colorado. Last night, they took care of Cincinnati. So all the negative talk you heard about Deion and how he's running the program and all the stuff that's coming out of there, that team is sitting in fourth place right now with one conference loss. They're not going to win the tiebreaker right now because they lost to Kansas State. But the rest of the games that they have, they can win. And the two teams at the top, below BYU, who is at the top, is Iowa State and Kansas State, and they're going to have to play each other. So Colorado is in a very good position to make some noise or maybe wind up being up in the conference championship game. So this is what people who dreamed about the parity of college football, they dreamed about these things, and now it's coming true. No longer do you have teams, say, like a Oklahoma Sooners or the Florida Gators who get a run in their conference, and then they can cruise, and they know they're going to beat Vanderbilt. They know they're going to get by Kentucky. They know they can whip Tennessee. And they know if they beat X amount of teams, they're going to wind up in the championship game. Can't do that anymore because everybody's schedules are stacked. Now, speaking of stacked schedules, the Gators on paper has got the toughest schedule in the nation. They're off this week, but they're going to come right here to Everbank Stadium, and they're going to get it on with Georgia. Now, if you haven't been paying attention, Florida's been playing a whole lot better football lately, and they always come up with the effort to play against Georgia. Now they have some confidence going. They got some continuity going. And Georgia, with the big head, because they did it to Florida the last couple of years, hey, they might just be in prime position to knock off Georgia. It's going to be interesting to see next week at 3:30, right here in Everbank Stadium. This place is going to be crawling with orange and red, and they're going to be getting it on at the 50-yard line. Florida, again, they're playing better football. People wrote them off. Looked like Billy Napier's about to get fired. But if they win this game, then they go to Austin. Maybe they can pull an upset there. Who knows? The team that everybody's been writing off could end up in prime position to destroy everybody's season. Would that be great to see? Absolutely, because that's what it's all about. You can talk all you want about who's got the best team, who's highly ranked, who plays in what conference. It all comes down to man on man out on the football field, and Florida has the chance to stamp their name on this season. Will it happen? I don't know, but it's going to be interesting to see as the season unfolds. Again, I'm Coach Hall. I'm at Everbank Stadium outside where the Packers are in town taking on the Jaguars. Last score I got, the Packers were in the red zone. They were up 7-0, and I can't see the score from here, but if you look up, you can see the Jumbotron. I can pretty much watch the game standing right here just by watching the TV. I'm not really interested in that. I'm down here because after the game, I'm going to be talking to fans on Fango Media. I may stay here, and I may not. I may be on the other side of the stadium where the Jaguar head is, with the teeth showing. But I think this is a better position because you got these parking lots all over here. This is a bigger parking area than what you have on the other side. On the other side, you have more expansive concrete, and way down and across the highway over there, you can't see the bridge from here, but there's a bridge. You see the top of the bridge over there. On the other side of that highway that goes to the bridge, the expressway, that's where you have a big party zone where people tailgate and party and everything else. But over here, it's more compact, and you see a whole stream of people coming right down this walkway right here, and it can be pretty lively. Now, that's this week. Next week is going to even be better, because where you don't have fans walking around now, you will see these same fans choking these sidewalks all throughout the game next week when the Gators come to town. Now, Kirby Smart, the Georgia, they've been talking about they don't want to come down here every year because of recruiting advantages and all of that. But I don't see how that makes a difference, because if you're a home team, you're going to get your recruits. And if you're a home team when Georgia and Florida play, it's the same thing. Jacksonville just scored a touchdown. You know Jacksonville is 2-5, trying to get back into the race. The AFC South is weak. If they get a run going, they can knock off Green Bay. Things get interesting in the AFC South. You know they can play with Houston. They gave away the first game. They already beat the Colts. And the Titans are still middle of the road, especially since they don't have Derrick Henry anymore. So Jacksonville is in a position, if they can get a victory today, to possibly go on a run. But as I was saying, Georgia and Florida next week, it's going to be people all over the place. They don't like each other on the field, but if you come out in the parking lot, people are getting along like gangbusters. Over here, they have like tents up, and over in this area over there, they have their RV city. You can have on Gators colors and walk into a Georgia guy's RV, drink, have fun, whatever you want to do. Because they get along like that. It's just that the two schools don't like each other in sports, which is understandable. But the people have a good time when they come here. And it took me a long time to get down here. I was in my 40s before I started coming down here. But once I saw that, man, I wish I was 20 and hung out from that point. But it didn't happen. But I'm glad to be able to experience what I saw. But Jacksonville, get ready to kick the extra point. I think it's down like 10-7. I can't get a score report here, so you probably can tell me what the score is. I have no idea. All right, let's see what this says. Why is there no White History Month? I could care less. What's that got to do with football and sports? It should be a Sports History Month. How about that? How you doing, JJ? Now Gentry so beautiful. I just wish there were more people hanging around. I mean, if they were right about the end of the third quarter, you start to see people streaming out here. But right after the game, I'm going to be with Fango Media. I'm going to be interviewing fans about their reactions from this game. And right after that, I'm going to turn it back on and go live again. And then you'll see the stream of people as they come out of here. There's a great atmosphere around these football games. And it's one of the reasons why the city of Jacksonville agreed to redo their stadium. Now, when they did it, it was modern. But that was 30 years ago. If you go into the stadium, the concourse are all tight. So once the game ends and everybody rushes to the middle, it's kind of hard to get around. It's a pickpocket's dream. So what they're going to do with this new stadium, they're going to have wider concourses. It's going to be all modernized. It's kind of going to look like SoFi Stadium out in LA with the teal accents around it. That's pretty much what it looks like to me. But if Jacksonville hadn't got that stadium deal done, I think Jaguars would have been headed to London, same place they played the last 2 weeks. Tottenham Stadium and Wembley Stadium. That's their designated London home field, Tottenham and Wembley. And they would have been playing there full time if they hadn't got that stadium done. I think that was what the NFL really wanted. But one thing that people don't know about sporting events is the hidden economies going on. Yeah, you know what the colleges are making. You know what the city is making. But there are people around here hustling. All these people with these carts. You got people with food trucks. And in Jacksonville, I know a lot of places are the same way. You have these neighborhoods, or older neighborhoods, where houses are. And these people will charge you to park in their yard. As you get closer to the stadium, and depending on the game, you may pay $50, $60 to park. But if you really want to get to the game in Jacksonville, the best way to do it is the Game Day Express. That's what I take. I park my car in the garage 4 or 5 miles away. I catch one of those city buses that drop me off right on this corner here. I get off, I run my mouth, talk to some people, and when I'm finished doing that, I'm going right back to that same corner I got off, and I'm going to get on the bus and go back to my car. No traffic hassles, and all it costs me is $10 for a round-trip ticket. Best ticket in town. And some people may say that's expensive. Well, about 3 years ago, it was $8. Couldn't beat it. So if you want to do that, the best way to do it is just park your car or catch an Uber like these people just getting out of the Uber and come down here and have yourself a good time. I'm starting to see a lot of Packer fans. Again, Green Bay, Packer fans everywhere. Now, I explained some of this after I look at these Packers over here. And that's a nice green and gold you got on. But you know what you should do? You should take that green and turn it to black. Then you have black and gold, and then you'll be a Steeler, see? But the reason why that you have the color, the team disparity is such a large fan base for all these teams here in Jacksonville, we didn't have a team. Everybody was somebody else. Me, I was a Steeler. When they got the Jaguars, I had the choice. Am I going to follow the Jaguars, or am I going to stick with the Steelers? Well, I'm not going to drop my team to go follow some upstart program. I couldn't do that. And what made it easier for me, they put the Jaguars in the same division with the Steelers. So if you're really a fan, you're not going to drop your team. I don't care where they put them. I know a lot of people that did that. They dropped their team for the Jaguars no matter what division they put them in. Now, if they had put Carolina in the AFC South, maybe I would look at it a little bit different. But I wasn't going to change my team for none of that. All right, let me see what kind of comments I got here. Okay, Niles Gentry, beautiful. I know I'm still in the same spot here. Like I said, I'm at Everbank Stadium here in Jacksonville to get a little hype over there. They just scored a touchdown to make things interesting. All I know for sure that both teams have scored a touchdown. I don't know what happened with the drive of Green Bay when they were in the red zone. I'm pretty sure that they kicked a field goal, but I can't tell you that for certain. Maybe you should tell me because I don't know. Anyway, I'm thinking upset next week with Jacksonville, with Georgia and Florida next week, right here at Everbank Stadium. I think Georgia may have something to say about that. They got that defense, and if you got a running quarterback, which Florida has, that guy can get loose and get on the roll. Man, he might cause Georgia some problems. You saw Jalen Milroe do it. And Jalen Milroe, he played so well against Georgia, they started talking like he was a Heisman candidate. Well, he didn't look like a Heisman candidate to me. He threw a couple of great throws, and he made some good plays, but he looked like maybe a little bit better Jalen Milroe than he did last year. So you can see the way he played yesterday. He didn't play that great. He played well enough, manageable. He didn't really play to the point where he was in danger of losing the game, but he wasn't raising no sand either. He's not playing at that championship level I like to see him play, or at least to match the hype that he gets when they play certain opponents. But if Georgia plays Alabama again, I think Georgia will be ready for that run that Milroe does. And you get a hint of that when at halftime, Kirby Smart, during his interview, he said something about the way that they were using Milroe was different. And that's with the different head coach, so that made a whole lot of sense. But the way Georgia came back on Alabama, if they play Alabama again, they're going to whip Alabama. Just as I feel like if Georgia played Texas again, Texas is going to beat Georgia. But it doesn't matter because all three of those teams, I think, are going to get into the playoffs. And whoever gets into the playoffs is going to come down to who's the healthiest, who's going to win that championship. Might be some surprise team like Texas A&M. Nobody's expecting them. But whoever's healthy, they're going to win. Because with these brutal schedules that they have, it's just going to be more and more and more for this next month, these next 4 weeks. A lot of teams are going to get beat up and they're going to fade down the stretch. Take a team like Wisconsin. They play pretty good football, but they don't have enough bullets to last the whole game. They faded against USC. They faded last night against Penn State. And Penn State looked like they needed an interception to stay in the game. It was an interception, a bad pass from the quarterback against USC that allowed them to get back in the game. And the same thing yesterday. Guy got a pick six on Wisconsin. That turned the whole game. Turnovers tend to do that, especially late in the third quarter. So again, Indiana is in prime position to make it to the conference championship game. So I don't know how good they are, but they played yesterday with a backup quarterback. And if they can get another win or two out of that backup, I'm not quite sure if I don't remember what the injury was to their starting quarterback, but they say he's going to be out a couple of weeks. And I think they do have to play Ohio State. But the way they move the ball against Nebraska, I don't think they're going to have any problem moving the ball against anybody. It's going to come down to turnovers, pressure. A lot of teams can't handle pressure. We saw Quinn Ewers last week against Georgia. He's holding the ball too long. He wasn't doing that before. He never been in a position where he had to hold the ball. Cracks were shown. But I think that helped him because if he's going to go to pro football, then he's going to have to be able to handle that pressure, make quicker decisions, and get rid of the ball. But if he holds the ball, those guys at Georgia, they're going to get after you. And those guys, they're going to the pros. So he's getting the idea of what it's going to be like when he goes to that next level. Uh-oh. Oh, he's predicting victory. You sure about that, man? You want to rap? You say Jacksonville going on? They don't want to talk to me. A lot of guys won't want to do that. That's what I'll be doing when they come out of the stadium. I'll be picking up fans, and I'll get about 10 or 12 people to come talk to me. They'd be willing to talk. A lot of them want to talk, but then some of them, they just be afraid to. They say what they want to say, but when it comes to getting on the camera, they don't want to do all that. So that's going to be interesting after this game. But yeah, I'm just out here passing time. So I had to get into position to make sure that I can do what I need to do later on. And I can follow the game pretty much right here. If you look up, you can see the Jumbotron there. I got a pretty good picture of what's going on. It's probably about 20 seconds behind. So in any case, I can follow the action here. I'm not really interested. But Green Bay, they usually travel with a whole bunch of people. And inside the stadium right now, you got more Packer fans than you have Jaguar fans. So that's always interesting when the road team travels better than the home team. Green Bay does that everywhere they go. But again, that's from the fact that this city here didn't have a pro team for all those years. So people here already had their teams. And a lot of them, like me, we didn't give up our teams. So that's why you have such a diverse fan background here in Jacksonville. But if you go to Green Bay, you might have a few Bears fans, or Lions fans, or Vikings fans sprinkled around Green Bay, but that Wisconsin area is going to be pretty much Packer fans. And one of the things they did that I think Jacksonville could learn from, Green Bay I'm referring to, they used to play home games at Milwaukee County Stadium. I think the Brewers now have a new stadium, but before that they would play a couple games a year in Milwaukee. And what they did was bring more fans into the fold. I might be from Milwaukee, but I can't get over to Green Bay. Jacksonville, when they redo their stadium, they're trying to decide on where they should go play their home games. Some of them are going to be here in a limited capacity, but there are also going to be some games where they're considering the Gators over in Gainesville. They're considering Orlando. They even talked about playing some games over at the Daytona Speedway. I think what's going to end up happening when they do that, they're going to end up playing at the Gators field. Now, one other location that is a possibility is the University of North Florida, Hodges Stadium. They only really have one stands over there. They will have to put in some more stands to accommodate something like that. And it would be a perfect segue for the university to introduce a college football team over there. Right now they don't have one. The way the school is going, it's only going to make sense that they get one. There's plenty enough athletes around to fill a team. But they don't have the seating capacity over at the University of North Florida right now. So I think in the end, they're going to end up playing in Gainesville. They got like 100,000 seats over there, and it's more of a convenience for people to get there. You won't have the greatest parking situation, but if you need the greatest parking accommodation, then Orlando would be the better place. But if it was me, I would take the team over to Florida State and let them play some games at Doak Campbell. Because now you got the Tallahassee base that you're bringing in. You can play a couple games in Orlando. You can go down to Gainesville. You can use all this North and West Florida market to make them Jaguar fans. And I think by pumping that money into those local economies, that will go a long way to building up the Jaguar fan base. Now, if you take what's happening over there in Charlotte, the Carolina Panthers, let's say one of the top teams they're not going to draw. When they first came into the league, they wanted to play in Columbia. That's why they call themselves Carolina. Columbia, South Carolina, and Charlotte's about 90 miles apart. They wanted to play there, but Columbia, the capital, they didn't want them there. That's how they ended up in Charlotte. But I think they would have a bigger fan base if they would have been playing in Columbia as opposed to Charlotte. But it would still help them if they can come to a deal with Columbia to play a game or two down there. Stadium is big enough, and they can expand their fan base. And some people in the southern part of South Carolina or maybe Savannah, they can get to Columbia easier than they can Charlotte. So there's all kind of ways these teams can use to build their fan base, and Jacksonville is in a prime position to do that kind of thing. All right, let's see what we got here. 3rd and 7. I still can't see the score, but I think Green Bay has the ball, and Jacksonville is either 10-7 or 7-7. I don't think they scored a touchdown in Packers yet. So again, I can hear what's going on, but I can't really see anything. So parking lot's kind of like a few people straggling around. But at the end of the 3rd quarter, you're going to start seeing people trickle out of here. It's going to get pretty interesting around here, especially the ones who've been drinking the whole time. It's kind of hot out here. It's about 80 degrees, and people in there, they're having a good time. Actually, not a bad spot for a football game. All right, let's see what we got going on. These guys on these bikes, they make big money riding people around back and forth from their cars to the stadium. That's a good little hustle if you're trying to find one. You got guys over here in the underneath the highway there. They're doing food trucks. They're selling all kind of trinkets and different things. Now, I noticed one thing. This parking lot here is supposed to be for special parkers. I've seen people drive over the hump and park in these parking areas when they don't have authorization to do so. But I noticed that nobody really enforces that. Unless you park egregiously, don't seem like nobody cares. No harm, no foul, right? I've seen some things, but I'm not going to say a thing. It's not my business. All right, let's see what's going on here. All right, what are you saying? cosa stay facendo. What does that mean? Don't say. I can read Spanish, but I don't comprehend it all. Certain things. I got plenty of color, man. Which one of these is your team? You a Packer fan?
No.
How you doing, man?
I'm doing really good. What you up for?
I'm right here. I'm with my own little outfit here. I'm Sports for Real with Coach Hall. I do sports commentary, and after the game is over with, I'm with Fango Media. I'm going to be talking to fans coming out of the stadium. We're going to cut it up and we're going to put it on the internet. And you just happen to be coming at the right time because what we're doing, you have a chance to win some free tickets if you subscribe to that particular site. So what you can do, you can go on there and you'll see fans from all 32 cities talking about their team immediately after the game in the heat of the moment. You know how they feel about them.
That's Fango.
Fango. Now the last time I was here, they beat the Colts, right? Guy come out, they just won their first game, they're 1-4. He's talking about they're going to the Super Bowl. That's the kind of stuff these people say, man.
Well, you know what fan is short for, right?
Fanatic.
I
know it. But some of them are reasonable. They do
for me, I've kind of stepped off the. I'm a private driver.
Oh, yeah?
I've stepped off the professional football, and I'm strictly college. And even now in college, your teams aren't the same every year. The announcers are like, yeah, the wide receiver just caught it. He just came from Georgia. Well, it looks like the running back just did it. He's a transfer from Georgia.
What do you think about the guy ETN? He played for the Gators last year. He plays for Georgia now. So what does that mean for the rivalries?
It's stupid. Bill has just completely changed the game, and guys that are going to play for a school for 4 years are almost non-existent.
You know what they're doing? I have a great year here.
Right?
I transfer here for more money. That's what they're doing.
The kid that played has 2 national championship rings with Georgia. He transferred.
Wait, went to Oregon, or was it? I know what you're talking about.
Maybe Ohio State.
But you know why they do that? Because how many times is Georgia going to get the bounce to win the championship? He's not going to go there all the time.
Well, the other thing is, what are they offering him with nil money?
Some of these guys get $2 million a year. Deion Sanders making $4.
Shedeur is like making $4.
He's making $4 million a year.
And
so if you think about it, though, what's the point of rivalries now? And you know who got it right? The Georgia-Florida fans, because they don't like each other on the field, but come out here to the parking lot. Oh man, they partying, man. They can care less what color you got on. I think it's great. You gonna be out here next week?
I'll be another charter.
Okay, well, check me out, man. I'll be out here somewhere.
I got to sit my
I'm Coach Hall. All right, take it easy.
Good luck.
All right, thank you. Well, that's what I'm talking about. Hell yeah, what's that? I can't see what, is that Jaguar? I can't see what your picture looks like because of the shade, I guess. I don't know. He's out walking around getting his exercise, waiting for the game to be over with. Some of these fans trying to beat the traffic, they're trying to get up out of here, man. Real easy to get around down here unless you get caught in the traffic jam. But if you look over here to the Hart Bridge, you can see that little green thing over there. They kind of destroyed the setup, but they did it better than what I thought they were going to do. If you see the ramp coming down there a couple years ago, that wasn't there. You would take the ramp and it would be a flyover all the way down till you got off on Adams or Duval Street. But they took the ramp down and they replaced it with this. I thought they were going to get rid of the whole thing altogether. But what they wanted was surface traffic from here all along where you see Betty's place over there and then go all the way into downtown. But they surprised me a little bit. What they ended up doing, they took the ramp down, you came down and you drive down for about a mile. And if you don't want to continue in the traffic, then you can go back up to the part where they didn't take down. So they took part of the ramp down, left the middle section surface level, and then you can climb back out. So it's actually not a bad way to get up out of here. And if you want to just drive through here when the traffic's nice, then you can do that. So it's like I say, Jacksonville is a pretty good setup. And we're away to traffic, and the city is changing. People are moving here from all over the place, primarily from up north. Price is going up a little bit, but still, this is a great place to be. And it's going to continue to get better. But it all depends on what's going to happen in the world. I'm a little worried about world affairs right now. We got to get control of this world stuff. Or it could get kind of rough around here. But I think in the end, though, That'll get worked out. A lot of problems in the world. And the leaders just going to have to sit down and work it out. If not, there's going to be a lot of despair going on. And I hope that's not the case. So what we want to do is have a good time, enjoy these games, and go from there. All right, so what's the score? Sound like Green Bay 13-7 over Jacksonville. I couldn't hear it because this guy's blasting his music. He's on the hustle. He get a chance to get in good shape and make some money on top of it. And next week is really going to get hyped when the Bulldogs come to town. People are going to be everywhere. Every single place you think you can hide a crowd of people, you can get it. Now, even though the bridge is going up, you still got a good half a mile before you reach the waterfront going this way. So all from around here, maybe a mile and a half down to the north, you can't really go anywhere here, but you can still pack a lot of people in there because you got RV City right in that area, general direction over there. So again, it's going to be thousands of people here. Once they open up RV City, usually around Wednesday, then you come down here and have yourself a good time, man. All right, I don't know what's going on with the chat. I think you guys talking to somebody else. But I'm just down here enjoying the atmosphere, talking a little college football. Switch over to the World Series. Dodgers won again last night to go up 2-0. They won the first game in dramatic fashion. The only thing that I had to talk about as far as game one goes is the fact that they walked Mookie Betts to pitch to Freeman. You assume that the guy with the lower batting average is going to not hit the ball. Sometimes that works out. But I think you should do the percentages on how many times you walk somebody and the guy behind that person kills you. And the first pitch, Freeman sent off for a grand slam. Now you lost 2 games in a row. You go back to New York, and you're in a must-win situation. Because if you don't win, you go down 3-0, the Yankees might just get celebrated on in their own field. And really, the Dodgers, they're from New York, so it'd be like coming home. But, you know, that classic series between the Yankees and the Dodgers, they played many times over the years, going back and forth. A lot of great moments. Freeman's home run at Grand Slam fit right in with all the history that you have between the Yankees and the Dodgers. So, this Packers fan with an old gold on. She got Jaguars fan on. I don't know what team they root for.
Is a year-round initiative.
Got her green and gold with the high boots on.
To help more people catch cancer early.
I'm just out here just enjoying myself.
Early detection of cancer, which can
Getting close to halftime, so I got about another hour to blow before I get ready for this production of mine. Like I said, the fans will start running out of the stadium with a couple minutes left before the end of the game in a large stream, but at the end of the third quarter, you'll see them trickle out in a slow stream. A lot of them trying to beat the traffic. Like I said, if you look over here, once you turn this corner here, you can make another right there, and that goes along by those old shipyards, and all the way down to the riverfront, you'll see cars and people tailgating. They have a big, like a fairground lot over there where people party and congregate. Over here, the same way. On the other side, the east side over there, it's the same thing. On the east side, north of the expressway. So, and it's probably about, I don't know how you calculate square mileage, but if you go into a square, you're probably looking at 2 miles that way, another mile that way, all the way over here. So if you put it in a square, you're looking at about 10 miles of people. And one thing I can relate that to, I used to go to Myrtle Beach Bike Fest, and they used to have the entire beach area for about 30 miles all the way up close to the North Carolina line, all along the shoreline. That's how they had the people all crammed in into a certain tight area. And you kind of have the same thing here during these games. All right, let's see what we got going on here. So let's talk to the fans here, those of you that are on. Somebody tell me, what do you think about what's going on in college football today?
Breast cancer.
It's an open mic. What do you want to talk about concerning your college football team? Furthermore, what do you think is going to happen once the college playoffs begin?
Cancer Center.
What is going to take place once the playoffs begin? What do you think?
Cancer. We would like to introduce them and invite you to join us in a very special
No action yet.
bell ringing ceremony. Tradition. Bringing the
Jaguar fans.
moment of triumph. A tangible reminder of their strength and perseverance.
Like no real fans.
Process of cancer treatment.
Look like you ready to go home.
Now taking the field.
Okay, they're doing halftime at the stadium here. You know. Instead of you guys looking at me, I'm just paying in the stadium, seeing what's going on. Been a lot of changes over here at the Jaguars. They got this little house-like complex right behind these toilet facilities here. That's because Dreamfinders is a sponsor, and they are the ones who built that. Kind of like a model for you to look at if you're interested in getting a Dreamfinders home. In the Daly's place, that's where they have their concerts. It's like basically an amphitheater. Pretty nice structure there. They had several good concerts there over the years. It's only been there maybe about 5 years. Maybe less than that. But it's a good place to have a concert. Nice little venue. And on the other side over there, if you go to the north side, when that side over there used to be a drop-off area for the buses. But what they did was they built an indoor practice facility for the team. So they had to rearrange where they dropped the buses off. So it went from over there to now they have moved it over here. Like I said, that is the best way to get to a Jaguars game is to catch that game day express, and you don't have to worry about the hassle of parking. And I noticed they don't come out here and I'm not a threat to the security or anything, so I guess they see what I'm doing, but they know I'm here. But I'm not that close to the stadium to be a bother to them, so they don't fool with me. All I'm doing is talking anyway. But some stadiums I've found that they will run people off, and they don't want to have people getting too close, or especially, live streaming. But I'm just independent media. I'm no different than anybody else that's out here, like with a news station. Out here filming the games. Or bodybuilding.
Haircuts are vital spotlight. Pediatric cancer survivor.
I've been wondering why these people leave games early, man. Maybe he's got somewhere to go. You guys leaving early, man? Too hot for you? I want to talk to him. Good thing about the NFL, the halftime don't last too long. 12 minutes. It's enough time for you to go get you a bite. Well, you can't get a bite to eat because the lines be so far out. The lines be so long, you can't get a good drink in time. You can't go to the bathroom and think that you're going to get back in your seat before they kick it off. It's not going to happen. But that's where the wider concourse in the new stadium is going to help. But last I checked, I think the Jaguars are down 13-7. Something along those lines. So I'm asking anybody out there that's listening, what do you think about Indiana or the way that college football is shaping up this season? Might have a couple surprise entrants that we hadn't thought about to make these conference championships, especially in the Big Ten and the SEC. It's kind of like pro sports now. It doesn't matter who wins the division. It's getting to the playoffs. If you get to the playoffs healthy and you're one of the teams that get a bye, 3 games, you're playing for a championship. 3rd game is the championship. It looks like Boise State. They're probably going to get that 5th seed, and they're going to host the game on campus. And that's going to be pretty rowdy on that blue field. College football is a great time to be a part of it, to watch it, especially if you're a player. If you were on a few minutes ago when I was talking to that driver, he was talking about NIL and how it's changed things, and it's even changed the face of rivalries. What does it really matter if my team beats yours if the players don't care about the rivalry? All the players care about is their money. And it's the same thing with the NFL. These guys are making millions of dollars and the pay scale keeps going up. So if they don't win a championship, do you really think these players really care? They act like they care in the public, but once they go behind the scenes somewhere and they start counting the money they got, man, they could care less about winning the championship. It's not the same anymore. It's all about championships as I was coming up. Those players back then, they wanted to win a championship. The guys now may talk like they want to win a championship, but once they get paid, that's all they care about, man. I'm trying to tell you, man. They're getting paid, they're getting paid, they're getting paid. But that's when you have teams like Indiana who couldn't normally draw athletes when they were in competition with Ohio State or Michigan. They were going to lose out to those big programs. But when you add money into the mix, now everybody's a player. Texas A&M is now in the position to surpass Texas. They can compete with Texas now because they got the money there. It's just Texas has just got the bigger alumni. And that's why Texas ran things. But now, if you're A&M, if you keep winning, you want Texas to keep winning, and you're going to knock them off the last game of the season, you're going to the playoffs. And what better is there for the Aggies to do, fan base especially, than to knock out the much-hated Longhorns? They hate the Longhorns so much they didn't even want to renew the series with them 2 years ago. They could have been playing this year and last year. A&M didn't want nothing to do with it because they felt like they were being disrespected in the past by Texas. Texas is the big bully, and they smile in their face and laugh at them. Well, A&M caught on to that. That's why they moved to the SEC. They won't have nothing else to do with Texas. And lo and behold, who comes? Texas follows them to the SEC. They just can't get rid of them. So now that you got your program up, you're competitive, you got the money to match them, now it's time to whip Texas. So we're going to get the opportunity on November 30th. This guy with the cheese head, man. He got a blanket on like it's cold. I guess he don't realize it's 80 degrees down here. But Indiana, as I was saying, who knows what kind of money they have there to throw around. These corporations are behind the scenes pumping the coffers of these programs, and it's making a big difference. Now, as I reported months ago, the key into all this is the IRS. Texas A&M had that a 12 fund where you had the opportunity to check whether you wanted to contribute to the NIL fund. IRS stepped in and said, you guys can't do that. So they got to find other creative ways to get beyond that. But you know the IRS is going to keep telling them what they can and cannot do. So until the IRS or Congress step in to control this college football, which seems to be, or college sports, which seems to be spiraling more out of control every day, until that happens, you're going to see all kind of creative ways by these institutions to get these players to come to their schools. You say you can't recruit under certain times? Well, what's stopping the corporation from going to recruit players or get them out of high school or wherever? For instance, they have NIL in high school now in most states. They just got it in Florida a couple months ago. They got it in Florida. So what's to stop, say, a big corporation say, look, we're boosters of the University of Florida. We'll sign you to a high school deal while you're playing, but when you're done playing high school, then you come to the University of Florida. Not saying that the Gators would do that, but what's to stop some corporation from doing that? Or going to Georgia, or Alabama, or any other place that's got the money to pay. Texas got deep pockets. Don't know what kind of pockets Indiana has. But if they keep getting these players, and they keep competing, it's kind of like Parity. The players are being spread out now. There's no stockpiling like they used to do. So these little guys have a chance. So in one sense, NIL is bad. You're leaving, man? Why are you leaving? Too hot. Hey, you're supposed to be a football fan. You know what?
I wore jeans like an idiot.
How you doing, man?
As a season vet, I wore jeans. I told myself not to wear jeans.
Well,
To the bar, that's a lot cheaper.
look here, man. I'm with Fango Media too. I interview fans like you after the game. You get your responses to what you saw.
2 brothers and a sister.
So if you log on to that, you have a chance to win 2 free tickets to a game. Also, you get to see reactions from all the cities in the NFL from their fans.
Say right.
All right, man. So check me out. I'm Coach Hall. Subscribe to me also.
My man.
All right.
Appreciate it.
You online? You online right now?
Go.
You live right now? All right, man. Take it easy. All right. I paid $50 for a ticket. I don't care if I wore a sweatsuit. I'm not coming out till the game's over with. He should have known better than that before he came to the game. But speaking of that $50, I also do ride share. And I picked up ride share after the first Jaguars game. I met a guy. He said he went to the first game and he and his wife spent over $400 for one game. That included the tickets, the parking, the stadium amenities. He was kind of surprised that he had spent that much money at an NFL game. And I've been hearing this kind of talk for a long time. Will I spend $400 at a game? Well, if I'm taking 4 or 5 people to the game and I'm giving them some food, then yeah, I might spend that kind of money. But if it's just me and my wife, oh no, I'm not spending $400. That's too much for one game, especially when I can sit on the TV and I make sure I got my Wi-Fi bill paid. I'm good. So it don't make sense for me to spend that kind of money when I can watch it on TV for no extra cost. But there's some people just have to be in the mix of things, and again, it's a great environment to be out here during the games. You get to rub elbows with all kind of fans, and it gets to be pretty interesting. You know, have a good time. But $400 for one game, I just think that's rather much, and that's probably cheap. I don't know what they're paying up in New York and Philadelphia, because you know the market up there is much more expensive. California, what are they paying up there? I have no idea. But I know I wouldn't pay it. I watch it on TV or pull out my phone and track it and do something else. I think that's the best way to follow what's going on in sports anyway, be attuned to everything that's going on. But they have started the game back, and I can't see this. I can see the scoreboard, but it's kind of on an angle, so I don't know what it does. This side doesn't give me the score. The score is on the other side. So if I wanted to see the score, I have to go over to the other side. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to hang out right here, right under this tree, and I'll probably be in the same spot when I go to Fango. What I'm going to do, I'm going to change shirts, and you'll see me if you're at the stadium. I got this big green shirt on with the big yellow circle in the middle that says Fango Media, and that'll be something interesting today because Packers fans, they travel well. They got more Packers fans here than they do Jaguars, which is kind of disappointing. But if Jacksonville wins this game, then they're right back into a position where they can get themselves all the way back into the race. Their opponents in the South, the Titans, not doing so great. The Colts, they've already beaten the Colts. And the Texans, they had the Texans beat and let them off the mat. So they can play with all these teams. It's just a matter of them stop giving games away. So it's going to get pretty interesting in the second half of the season. And I'm interested to see how things are going to unfold. More fans leaving.
That's back, 1st and 10.
Too hot in the stadium, man? You're not a real football fan. They just come for the atmosphere. You're a real fan of your team. Unless you're passing out, you're supposed to stay in that stadium, especially if you're at home. Now, the advantage for Green Bay is this is great for them. It's already cool up there. They're enjoying this weather. It's like going to Miami Beach or something, you know. It's great for them. But when you go to Green Bay in the wintertime, Jacksonville fans won't enjoy that very much. Yeah, they enjoy, you know, going to see Lambeau Field and what it's like to be at the Packers Stadium, but when that cold come whistling around that corner, I don't think they want to have nothing to do with that, man. So I don't know. So again, Jacksonville, last I knew they were down like 13-7. I can't see the score from here, but you guys can help me out on that. So today I'm talking about Indiana and college football, and I'm asking you guys in the chat, anybody who want to chime in with me, what do you think about what's going on in college football? I saw Indiana beat Washington last night by 2 touchdowns. They destroyed Nebraska last week, and then Nebraska came back last night and almost beat Ohio State. They should have beat Ohio State. They got stopped 4th and 1 on the goal line, and they threw an interception trying to take the winning score. They had the opportunities to beat Ohio State, but they blew it. But the point is, Indiana embarrassed them. They ran them off. So how good is Ohio State? But really, how good is Indiana? Is this team that for real? You can't say they hadn't played anybody. They got Ohio State later. They should be able to move the football, especially if they get their starting quarterback off the injury list. So it's going to be interesting as the season unfolds. Let's see where they're leaving. They're kind of loopy there. Been drinking too much liquor in this hot sun. All right. I'm going to have to put a stop to this live in a minute, so I'll start getting ready for these fans when they come out of the stadium. Right, heating up around here, man. Rather interesting. We got his music going. Got a couple fans on the back. This guy right here got him a souped up mobile. I think I met him before. He's out here with his wife. She's got one running, he's running one. Got a nice little hustle going on. He's been doing it for a while. So he ain't burning no leg energy either. But all you got to do is put the time in. Sometimes the weather changed bad on him, but I think you can deal with that if you're making enough money. And a lot of these guys, they make decent money doing this. Being a ride share driver, I picked up people. I've gone, I think what's the longest I went? I went about 10 miles across town one day to pick up somebody who was going right across the street. They could have walked across the street before I even got there. Well, are we this lazy in society that we can't walk across the streets anymore? I mean, it's not like it was a super busy highway. They just don't want to walk anymore. It's like taboo to walk. So they waited 15, 20 minutes for me to get there just to take them across the street. And when I say across the street, I mean from like here to right over there where those cars are parked. And it cost them about $20 to do that. That is the epitome of laziness. And I've seen it plenty of times being a rideshare driver. People are just that sorry these days. Yeah, just that sorry. All right.
Let's congratulate this week's fourth loser.
Right. What's going on here? A lot of people just come out here just to hang out with the people at the stadium. Not doing nothing else. Just having a good time. Again, like I said, some of these people in this parking lot, they're not supposed to be here. But I don't see any stickers or something that says that you shouldn't be here or should be here. So once you get in, who's to stop you from staying? There are a lot of loopholes at these stadium events. I wonder about other cities how they do it. But overall, I'm very happy with the way things are set up here. It's easy to get around down here. You don't have to get stuck in traffic if you don't want. And like I say, once you get on this bus or once you turn this corner and get on that bridge, you easily escape everything. It was much easier to escape when they had the bridge that went all the way around to Adams and Duval Street. Made it a whole lot easier. But that was a good improvement when they took that ramp, dropped it down off the bridge. Now you drive down for about a mile, then you go back up if you want to escape. That is great. So it worked out for everybody, because if you don't want to be in traffic, you can still get out of it. You can go around it completely, or you can stay out here in it and enjoy the crowd. Don't know what the time is. I can't see anything here. Green Bay just picked up a first down. They were up 13-7 last I knew. So pretty hype around here with the Jaguars. Whether they win or lose, still pretty interesting for the people that's partaking in the event. Mighty colorful. Need to get me some water. Bank Stadium. But like I say, next week, third quarter, next week, Bulldogs and Gators are going to be all over the place. A lot of people come down here. It might be 60,000 in the stands, but another 30,000 walking around the parking lots for tailgating. Some of them have tickets never make it to the stadium because they party themselves out before the game starts. The only thing that can slow the atmosphere down here when Jacksonville and when the Gators and Dogs play is the rain. There's been a few downpours over the years, but as long as that doesn't happen, you're going to have a great event. It's supposed to be warm again next week, so it's going to be just like it is now. After the game is over, it can be pretty interesting depending on where you end up, but you can have a great time if you want to enjoy the festivities. If you're college age, I suggest you come on down here, man. You're a guy, get some of these girls walking around here, man. You can have a good time. Meet some people you never would have met before. The older crowd, get in with the older crowd and enjoy that. So it's a lot to do down here. You know, you can party, walk around, talk trash. But one thing you won't see are fights between the teams. You won't see that. I mean, fights between the fans, I should say. But the teams, they're going to try to beat each other up. But the fans, they don't care anything about that. And it fits into what's going on in modern college football today. Because what you have is this NIL that are taking players that play for their rivals, and they switch it over to go play with their rivals. ETN last year, he was a Gator. Now he's a Bulldog. Signed a contract, NIL contract, just like he's in the pros. He's getting money to go play, more money to play with Georgia than he would in Florida. Why not take it? Because in the end, what does it matter? Don't mean anything. And that's just the way it is. Enterprise, capital enterprise. Get the best you can out of a deal, and that's what these players are doing, because still, this is football. All it takes is one play, and your whole career can be over with. So you can be the NIL darling today and be out the league and out of football altogether the next play. And that's just the way football is. So I'm kind of glad they're getting their money now, but by working in the high schools, I'm disappointed with what I see from a lot of young kids. They have the opportunity now to go pro right out of high school. Me, when we came out, we had to go through college, try to make it there, then go pro. But these NIL deals are paying pro money to high school kids coming out. So if I'm in high school now, I'm doing everything I can do to get myself prepared in the sport that I'm playing. I'm going to do extra reps. And after practice is over with, I'm going into the film room. Then I'm going to get me some more running in. I'm going to eat right. Then I'm going to get up in the morning before I go to school. I'm going to work out and do what I need to do. So by the time I get to class, I'm already 3 times ahead of everybody I'm competing against. I'm going to make it if I was coming through today because I see what's going on. The ultimate of most guys is to go pro. And right now, college is the new pro. These guys are making big money to be in college. So what I'm seeing from a lot of these athletes, they're carrying on just like this NIL stuff didn't exist. They don't understand the value. You can tell them, but if it's not in that guy to go out and do that work, he's not going to do it. But this is the perfect time for an athlete. If you have dreams of getting paid for your athletic prowess, you need to be putting in the work. But these guys aren't doing that. A lot of them, and I hate to say it, they're doing stuff they shouldn't be doing. I hear about them doing a lot of vaping. They're doing the drinking. They're smoking weed like this is the greatest thing in the world to do. That's what the music tells them to do, so that's what they do. So, like before, only the most focused ones are going to make it to the pros. Now, in high school, you can still not put the work in. If you got the body and you're just that good at the sport, then you're going to get a college scholarship. but you're not going to go much past that until you change your work habits. But if you got a guy with the work habits that get to college who was not a star that can make it to the pro, now you can make millions of dollars over a 4-year period before you even get to the pros. So whether you make it to the NFL or NBA or not, you set up. And all it takes is somebody to point them in that right direction or for them to see it for themselves that this is the greatest opportunity for any young athlete to set himself up for the future. Because if you get hurt, that's it. Can't play no more. Nobody cares. Got to put the work in, man. This is the time to do it. But I don't see that from a lot of athletes. They look at the TV and they want to look like the pro athletes. They all dressed up real nice, got the shoes all white. But when it's time to play, they can't play. Or they didn't put the work in to play. Well, how are you going to get better at something if you don't put the work in? It doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me, right? But again, I've been out of school 35 years. But had I come along today, I would have a completely different mindset from just going through the motions like the average high school kid does. I didn't have the NFL frame, but I tell you what, I wasn't a weightlifter. Well, I'd have been in the weight room if I knew what was going on today. I'd have been out there running all those extra sprints and in the weight room and studying film and everything I needed to do, working on my speed, all that kind of stuff. That's all it takes. Because I had the IQ, had the ability. I didn't have the NFL size, but I knew how to play the game and get myself in position. And half of sports is knowing what to do at the right time. That I know how to do. A lot of these guys don't. Take LSU and Texas A&M last night. LSU was going to kick a field goal. The holder is looking at the kicker. The guy snaps the ball and it hits the holder, and he just froze like, what's going on here? He didn't know what happened. He knew the ball came, but he's got an attitude about why is the ball coming. But the ball is live. Why don't you jump on the ball, son? And by the time he realized that, his teammate jumped on it. But that could have turned into a Texas A&M guy picking the ball up and running for an easy touchdown. If his teammate wasn't there, that would have happened. And that's just the way what they call situational awareness. And because of the situational awareness, this guy, he almost blew it and turned it into something much bigger. Now, Texas A&M ended up pulling away late anyway, so it wouldn't have mattered. But in a close game, that kind of stuff wouldn't matter. All right, let's see what we got going on here. So again, they're in the third quarter. I'm seeing a few fans start to trickle out of the stadium because we're probably midway through the third quarter. I can't see the time, but it's getting ready to get hype here because no NFL games. A lot of people say NFL games are fixed. They say a lot of the NFL games are fixed. And if you notice NFL games, during the third and fourth quarter, teams that have been dominated or can't get nothing going, all of a sudden they start moving the ball and they make it competitive and they end up making the game come all the way down to the last minute. And that's a man with class right there, man.
Yes, sir.
That's them Steelers, man.
Yes, sir.
I try to tell these Jaguars fans, y'all got the right colors, but the wrong team, man.
Yeah. And what gate 2 at?
Gate 2, right here. That should be it, right? No, gate 2 on the other side. Go around that way, to the left. Yeah, gate 2 is on the other side. But anyway, yeah, these kids, man, they kill me. All they got to do is work and put the work in, and they can go places nowadays. Who's to say that Congress won't step in and put a stop to all this gravy train that's going on in college sports right now? So why not take advantage of it while they can? I know if I was coming through, that's what I'd do. Matter of fact, if I still had college eligibility, I would go and get myself into some top-notch shape and go walk on to a team and make it that way. They might not want to give me a shot, but why not? If I'm working better than these young kids, why wouldn't you give me a shot? Okay, the Jaguars trying to put together a drive. Last I know, they were trailing 13-7. Maybe you guys can give me a score update because I don't have one right now. I don't know. I've been on an hour. I've never been live this long. Had a little time to kill. I think it's interesting. I'm going to start doing more long lives. I seem to get more participation or more people listening than I do when I go on the computer. I don't know what's the difference. I think my settings are the same, but for whatever reason, it doesn't go out. Another thing I don't have are notifications. None of my subscribers that I have, they never get my notifications. So they don't know when I'm live. So I have no idea about the situation concerning the notifications or actually who's watching. All I can see is 3 or 4 people at a time. So I don't know who's actually watching. But I appreciate those of you that are sitting and listening to me talk football. And if I had the screen in front of me watching the game, I can analyze for you about what's going on. Well, Jacksonville just scored a touchdown. I believe they just tied the game up. You can hear that music. Trevor Lawrence, I wonder if Trevor Lawrence is overwhelmed by the contract extension he got, because he's missed a lot of wide open receivers this year that could have made a difference with their record. I mean, if he had hit 2 of those deep passes against Houston, they definitely would have beat them. Now the Bears, I think the Bears outplayed them over there in London, but there was at least one other game they could have won. I know they should have beat Miami, and they should have beat Cleveland. So Jacksonville should at least be 4-2 instead of 2-5. It should be at least 4-3 instead of the 1-5. So I think this is a good. Okay, Jacksonville's up 17-13. But Green Bay is a pretty good football team, so it's a good shot in the arm if they can pull this win off. But like I say, these NFL games, they always seem to come down to the wire. Now, a lot of people think that NFL games are fixed because of that. But I think that the talent is so similar that the best team and the worst team in the leagues, talent-wise, is not that much different. So it's not surprising that these guys will play harder if they're behind, and the other team have to hold on to win, and it just makes for a competitive environment. And I think college football, as long as the setup stays the way it is now, where these teams are dealing with this parity situation and they have to play tougher schedules, then you're going to see games in college do the same thing, come down to the wire. And I think that's good for the sport, especially now since these guys are making all that money. You need to play like a professional. And I think that's only fair. But that remains to be seen college-wise. But Jacksonville, they just scored a touchdown to go up 17-13, so that makes things pretty interesting around here. So they need to pull this win out. I'm not a Jaguar fan, but it's good for the local team to pull out a victory every now and then. A lot of people around here looking for something to hold on to, and they look for things like the Jaguars or celebrities or something to help improve their, at least mentally, improve their lots in life. You know, you can't put too much faith into that kind of thing, or you'll be surprised at the number of people who does. You got to do the best that you can do for yourself, and you don't give up. And always strive to keep getting better. I had to take me a shot of water here. It is 80 degrees out here. I'm acting like I'm a camel or something. Far from a camel. All right. So I'm going to hang on a little bit longer. I'm going to go about to the end of the third quarter. Then I'm going to switch on over and get ready for the crowd coming out. They already started to get people trickle out of the stadium, so that should be interesting. But can the Jaguars hold on? Again, I was talking about Trevor Lawrence, and I think with that contract extension, it affected his play. So instead of trying to live up to the contract, you just need to go and start playing some football. Now, he's been kind of iffy all his career. He still hadn't solved anything yet. He did get hot at the end of the season 2 years ago when they did make the playoffs. They won that weak AFC South, and they played the Chargers right here. Chargers jumped out to like a 24-0 lead, and they come back and won the game in the second half. So that's what prompted the team to think, well, maybe this guy, maybe he might be the quarterback of the future. Then they had a lackluster season last year, and they still gave him a contract extension. So maybe he thinks that, maybe I should try to live up to this contract instead of just trying to get better at the game. He's missed a lot of open receivers, and that has had an effect on the outcome, and as a result, their record. But if he just settle down and start playing, I think he'll be fine. Because no matter what, he's going to get paid, and you don't have to worry about that. Whereas most people in the stands, they need to worry about where that money is coming from next. Because everybody is not straight like these pro athletes, or college athletes for that matter. So respect it, appreciate it, but then give the people something to believe in by playing at least up to par, somewhere close to your abilities, and then everything else will take care of itself. All right, we got Packer fans going on, so I got to check my battery level. So Jaguars up 17-13. Got him an easy ride. He got him an easy rider. Fans getting up out of here, man. That heat will drive you out of here. I remember a few years ago when Tom Brady and the Patriots came for the first game of the season. I think that was a year after New England beat them in the AFC Championship game. Man, it was about 100 degrees that August day. And he had fans passing out in the stands. They were passing out here in the parking lot. I picked up a guy, he just got here, and the heat drove him right back to the house. So he'd been waiting on that game all year, and then when it was time to play, it was so hot he couldn't even deal with it. So what's better, watch the game or your health? But I think you make it worse when you come out here and you've been drinking too much. That doesn't mix too well with a hot sun. I remember as a kid one time, I see this guy, he had passed out in his car, and it was one of those hot summers, real hot that summer, like 100 degrees over several days. He had the windows all rolled up, and he had been high. But when that sun heated up that car, it killed him. And when you walk by, you can see his eyes bulging all out of his face. Man, that's the most gruesome scene I ever seen. Now, he hadn't been shot or anything, but like I said, he had some narcotics in the system. And that heat mixed with those narcotics caused his body to swell up. Killed him. That's the only time I ever seen something like that, but I wouldn't recommend somebody seeing something like that. But the heat is a very real thing to deal with, especially if you're dealing with some kind of health issue or you're under some kind of intoxicated or, under the influence of something. It's not good. So again, I don't know what the time is. I know we got a 17-13 Jaguars lead, and I came on really to talk a little college football. And what we have here is some teams that people hadn't been expecting to do anything has actually popped up and doing more than you expected. And that's partly because of NIL and the convergence of the Super Conference. Oklahoma and Texas coming into the SEC, and you have those 4 teams going to the Big Ten. That made for some interesting matchups. And where teams got into the habit of cruising on through to the championship games, you can't do that anymore. Yeah, you won a tough game, but you can't relax. Texas, I almost learned that yesterday when I almost got beat by Vanderbilt, especially after Vanderbilt had beat Alabama. You couldn't take them lightly. But I think Texas was pretty much just punch drunk. Because they were punch drunk and almost cost them. Alabama, they beat Georgia and they get beat by Vanderbilt. Now you got Georgia, I think they're in prime position. They might be in trouble next week. I'm not saying Florida's going to beat them, but I know one thing, it's the perfect setup for Florida to beat them. They don't care nothing about playing against the Bulldogs. They don't care how good Georgia is. Florida's going to show up, and they're going to knock them off. They're going to be lined up. They're going to be ready to play. How we doing? Why are you leaving early, man? Too hot for you?
Too hot.
I figured that Wisconsin don't get hot like this time of year. It is blazing around here, Wisconsin standards. Kind of like if Jacksonville, went up to Green Bay in January. It did the same thing, same effect. You're just not used to it. And at least in the cold, you can bundle up, try to keep yourself warm. But here you can't do that. All right. So anyway, this is sports for real. I'm getting ready to wrap this little conversation up. I wanted to talk about college football, and I'm seeing things that are kind of surprising to me, especially when you start talking about Indiana. 8-0 for the first time in school history, beating up on teams like Nebraska and Washington, who's had a lot of success over the years. Then you have Texas A&M rising out of the ashes after the disappointing regime of Jimbo Fisher, and they are now competitive to the point where they have the chance to make it to the SEC championship game. Even if they don't beat Texas, they can still make the championship game with one loss, especially if the other teams lose. I don't know how the SEC and all these guys are doing tiebreakers, but there are going to be a couple teams, maybe not the top team, but the second or third team might be tied. So how are they going to determine who makes it to the championship game? Green Bay just scored a touchdown, take the lead again. That makes it 20-17 for the extra point. They're going back and forth. Good matchup. 24-20? I thought he said 2017.
What?
I thought he said 2017. What's the score?
I think it's 24-20. Jags were just up, and then they just scored it, I think.
Yeah, he scored. I think he's got more points there. I think it's 20-17 now. Anyway, Green Bay just took the lead. I can't see the score, and I have no way to research it.
21 seconds remaining in quarter 3.
20-17 Green Bay. All right, it's still in the third quarter, and there's not much time left in the third quarter. So as I was saying, it's been a surprise for teams like Indiana and to see Texas A&M bounce back after the disappointing regime of Jimbo Fisher. I think the guy's out of he's outdated. But when you got the experience that Jimbo has, he's still making millions of dollars on the side by staying in the house. Last report I had on him, he was kind of like a consultant for Lane Kiffin in Ole Miss. He gets some tape and give it a different perspective from what Kiffin may see. And that is good because now you get a chance to approach it in a different way. Now, Ole Miss hasn't quite taken full advantage of that, but that is the kind of thing that I've been trying to do. I've been trying to get coaches to let me break down their film for them, put together a game plan based on what I see and give it back to them. But a lot of times that doesn't work because schools don't want to play supplements to somebody that's not part of the system. So I'm not going to be doing all that work and not get paid for it. But that is an opportunity for somebody like myself to make somebody on the side because I can look at your game plan, I can see what you're doing, I can see your opponent, and I can put all that together and tell you this is probably what you're going to have available to you and what you're not going to be able to do, and vice versa. I would be a valuable asset to somebody. But like I say, the way that high schools pay, they're not going to pay you unless you enrolled into their system as a employee to be able to get a supplement. And because of that, I can't take full advantage of that situation. Anyway. T-Roy there going crazy. Just gave away a free jersey. Anyway. It is hot out here though. 80 degrees. 80 degrees. Kind of unusual for the end of October. I hope it's good weather next week when Georgia comes to town. Not quite as hot, but their fan bases know how to deal with that. It's not much different weather-wise up in Athens as it is in Gainesville, so it won't affect anything too much. But as long as it's not a downpour, it won't affect the environment down here too much. So looking forward to next weekend. All right. That's the way I like it. I know I have a lot of people in here, but I only see 2 on the like button. If you like what I'm talking about, hit that like button. And there's some subscriptions. And I don't know what this super chat is, but I have never had a super chat, so I don't know what it is. So if somebody would hit that super chat, let me know how that works. I'd be greatly appreciated. Again, starting to heat up out of here. I'm starting to sweat myself. We got a close game going on between Jacksonville and you have the Packers just took the lead 20-17. So again, another NFL game is going to go down to the wire. And that's great if you're a fan of the sport. Not so good if you're a team that's on the losing end of that. But it gets interesting. This guy working for tips. He got a Detroit hat on, so look like it's a Michigan. He got that Michigan look. Nice hair. How about you? You hear what I said? I said nice hair. That's one thing about these women nowadays. They wear every color hair in the sun. The funny thing about it, you meet somebody, you think they look this way, and then later on they look completely different. And she get mad with you when you don't recognize them. Go figure that one out. Figure that one out. Yeah, they're starting to trickle out now. I'm trying to beat the crowd. At the end of the third quarter, I'm going to shut it down and get ready for Fango Media. I've explained to you guys before that Fango Media is where they have correspondents like myself at each NFL home stadium. So when those teams have home games, we'll be outside interviewing fans, getting their reaction to the game as they leave the stadium. You go to Fango Media, you can go and look at all the videos from all the games so far this season. This is the Jaguars' third home game, so this is my third video. The first two turned out pretty nice. Last time Jacksonville beat the Colts here, and some fans talk crazy. They were 0-4 before the game, and then when they beat the Colts, they're talking about they're going to the Super Bowl. And they might go to the Super Bowl, but you guys know that any team can go to the Super Bowl at any time. All you gotta do is get mad in NFL and play the season mode, and you can go to the Super Bowl. Anybody can go to the Super Bowl. So that's what it takes to get there. And you feel like you should go, that's how to get there. Yeah, they're trying to get out of this heat, man, especially those older folks. They got to get out of here, man, because they might get trampled by all the young folks. A lot of Packers fans. Some of them got flights they got to take. We're going to the airport from here. So once I finish this, I'm going to turn my ride share light on, and I'm going to be out there picking up some people. So I'm a full service outfit here. I'm going to tell you about your teams, and I'm going to give you a ride home after I do it. What better person is there than myself? Packers fans. Talking about them, the heat's starting to affect me a little bit. Who knows? We gotta get that fixed. Alright, you see this ambulance here? He's probably going inside the stadium or taking somebody out the stadium. Last time I went to a Jaguars game and it was hot inside, they had those paramedics inside attending to people who couldn't deal with the heat. And it's more than what you might think. This is one of the reasons why with this new stadium upgrade, they're going to have a little lip over the fans that kind of like reduces the temperature by about 20 degrees. So on a day like today when it's 80, it'll feel inside the stadium like 60. And that is a big difference if you sit out there in that heat. It's going to take a couple years for them to finish it, but it's been approved by the NFL. It's just a matter of go. And again, they're going to they hadn't decided on where they're going to play the games at when they leave the area. But I think they're going to end up at the University of Florida. But it's also an opportunity for them to go and take the team on the road to get more fans. Me, I would take them to Tallahassee. I would take them to Gainesville. I would take them to Orlando. I can't go to Tampa or Miami because now you're infringing upon the Bucks and the Dolphins area. But you can take them to Daytona at the Speedway, and by doing that, you can get more fans. All right. Okay, that was a big mistake by the Jaguars. They just fumbled the ball. It looked like Green Bay fell on it inside the 5-yard line. So let's see, there's a flag on the play. Legal motion on the offense. That means it's going to be, what do you say? Oh, they got lucky. It's a legal motion. Let's see, I can't tell. Okay, Jacksonville just sacked Green Bay, look like. Again, I can't get a full picture of what's going on, but somebody's on the 1-yard line. Somebody has the first to go on the 5. I believe Green Bay has the first to go on the 5. After a Jaguar penalty was declined to give them first and goal. Packers have a 4-point lead. And that was huge. They got to hold them to a field goal if they hope to stay at this game. And I can see the scoreboard now. It's 24-20. 24-20 Green Bay. I don't know what the score is. I think it's still 20-17. I can't see from where I am, nor do I have any way to get a broadcast of the game. All right, Green Bay just scored a touchdown. So they were up by 3. They scored this touchdown, and they put them up by 10. Knowing how these Jaguar fans are, they're going to start running out of the stadium shortly. They may wait to see what Jaguars do on the next drive, but that's the signal for a lot of fans to check on out. So let's make sure I saw what I saw. So you can see the scoreboard a little bit. And Green Bay's up.
6 seconds remaining in the game. Our score, the Green Bay Packers 27.
Green Bay's up 27-17 after that mistake. So having said that, it's been sports for real. Been talking college football. Now we're talking to Jaguars. Now we're about to get an exit of the fans as they come out to the stadium. And knowing how they are, that's exactly what's going to happen.
Roar of the Jaguars cheerleaders.
Anyway, I'm going to check out, and then I'm going to come back later on after my obligation with Fango, and then we're going to see if we can talk to some more fans as they come out of the stadium. But until then, I appreciate all those that checked in with me. This has been Sports for Real, and we'll be in about 30 minutes, live from Everbank Stadium. This is Coach Hall, Sports for Real. I'm out.